Hey everyone, and welcome. I know your board exams are just around the corner, and things can get a little stressful. So today, let's take a deep breath and do a quick, focused revision of one of the most important chapters in biology, life processes. We're just going to make sure all the key ideas are absolutely clear in your head.
All right, to get started, let's think about a simple question. Look at this picture. What's the real difference between a living, breathing bird and a stone statue of that same bird? I mean, besides the obvious. The answer isn't just about movement. It's much, much deeper. The secret lies in a set of core functions that basically define what it means to be alive.
And what do we call these functions? Well, we call them life processes. The textbook definition is right here. They are the essential functions that all living organisms perform to maintain life and to survive. Simple as that. These processes are the true signatures of life, separating what's living from what isn't.
First up, let's talk about the absolute foundation, nutrition. Think about it like this. A car needs petrol to run, right? It's not going anywhere without fuel. In the same way, every single living thing needs energy to do, well, anything. And that energy comes from food. The whole process of taking in that food and using it, that's nutrition. Now, for your exams, this is super important. You have to know the two main kinds of nutrition. On one hand, you have autotrophic nutrition. You see this in plants. The word auto kind of means self. They make their own food. And on the other hand, you have heterotrophic nutrition. This is us, humans. Hetero means other. We depend on others for our food. Getting this difference right is a classic exam question. So how do these autotrophs, like plants, actually make their food? Through this amazing process called photosynthesis. And for this to happen, a plant needs 4 key things. You have to remember these. It's often an easy one-mark question. First, energy from sunlight. Second, the green pigment chlorophyll to catch that sunlight. Third, carbon dioxide from the air around us. And finally, water from the soil. Get these 4, and you've nailed it. Okay, let's move on to our next big process. So we've got the fuel from nutrition, but what good is petrol just sitting in a car's tank? The engine has to actually burn it to get the car to move. That's exactly what respiration does for our bodies. It's the process that breaks down food, like glucose, to release energy that our cells can actually use.
And just like nutrition, respiration also has 2 main types you need to know. First is aerobic respiration. This one happens when there's plenty of oxygen. And wow, it releases a huge amount of energy. Then you have anaerobic respiration, which happens without oxygen. It releases just a tiny little bit of energy in comparison. This big difference in the energy output is a really key point to remember. Okay, this flowchart is so important. Let's walk through it slowly. The first step is the same for everyone. It happens in the cytoplasm of the cell. Here, a big glucose molecule is broken down into a smaller molecule called pyruvate. Now, after this, the path splits. If there's oxygen, we go the aerobic route inside the mitochondria, and that pyruvate is totally broken down, releasing tons of energy. But what if there isn't enough oxygen, like when you're sprinting? Well, your muscle cells switch to the anaerobic path, turning that pyruvate into lactic acid, and that's what causes those muscle cramps. So remember these 3 pathways, and just as important, remember where they happen. So we've got our fuel and we know how to get energy from it. But how does all that good stuff, the food, the oxygen, reach every single tiny cell in our body? And how does the waste get out? Well, for that you need a transportation system. Just imagine a giant, super efficient delivery network inside your body, carrying everything exactly where it needs to go. In us humans, our main transport liquid is, of course, blood. And it's made of 4 main parts. You have the red blood cells, or RBCs, which are like little delivery trucks for oxygen. Then there are the white blood cells, the WBCs. These are the soldiers of our body, always fighting off germs and infections. You also have platelets, which rush in to form a plug to stop you from bleeding. And finally, all of this stuff floats around in a yellowish liquid called plasma. And hey, plants need a transport system too. Theirs is a little different though. They have 2 special tissues. First is xylem. Think of it as a set of pipes that pull water and minerals up from the roots. It's a one-way street, only up. Then there's phloem. This one distributes the food made in the leaves to all the other parts of the plant. And this is a 2-way highway. It can go up and down. The direction of flow is a really important difference to remember here. All right, we're on to our final life process, excretion. So, as our body is busy doing all this work, making energy, growing, repairing, it also creates waste products. And this isn't just regular trash, a lot of it is toxic. Excretion is the body's super important system for getting rid of all this harmful waste, basically keeping us clean and healthy from the inside out. Now, listen closely to this definition because it's a classic exam trap. Excretion is specifically about removing metabolic wastes. These are the waste products from all the chemical reactions happening inside your cells. This is totally different from egestion, which is just getting rid of undigested food. Please, please don't get these two mixed up in your exam. So in humans, the main organ for excretion is the kidney. But who's the real hero doing all the hard work inside the kidney? It's a tiny, super complex filter called the nephron. This is the basic unit that filters your blood and actually forms urine. You absolutely have to know this name. Let's say it together, nephron. So we've looked at nutrition, respiration, transportation, and excretion. But here's the most beautiful part and probably the biggest takeaway from this whole chapter. These processes don't work alone. They are all part of one perfectly coordinated, interconnected system. Let's see how they all link up. It all starts with nutrition. We eat, we digest, and we get the basic fuel our body needs, glucose. This is step one. This is the raw material that powers everything else. So what happens to that glucose? Well, that's where respiration comes in. It takes that glucose and, using oxygen, it breaks it down to unlock all the energy stored inside. This gives our cells the power they need to function. But hold on. How does the glucose from your food and the oxygen from your lungs even get to your cells? That's the job of our transportation system. Your blood is constantly circulating, making sure every single cell gets the delivery of glucose and oxygen it needs for respiration to happen. And finally, all of these chemical reactions, especially respiration, create waste products. If this waste just hangs around, it becomes toxic. So the excretion system steps in, filters out all these harmful substances, and gets them out of the body. And just like that, the cycle is complete, and it starts all over again. It's a beautiful, continuous loop. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? Each process, nutrition, respiration, transportation, excretion, is vital, but it's how they all work together in perfect harmony that creates this incredible thing we call life. The whole system is so much more than just its individual parts. So, as you finish your revision, I want to leave you with one final thought. All these processes create a perfect, delicate balance. What do you think happens when that balance gets broken? Which of these systems is the first domino to fall? Something to think about. That's all for this quick revision. Study well, stay calm, and all the